Streaming is on.
Yeah, every time I hear this, I'm gonna start dreaming of this voice. Line streaming is on. Like she, uh,
Really?
Jessica Rabbit. Jessica Rabbit talk. Yeah. So Jay, I would, if possible, if we can do this, I think 10 minutes should be enough. Not more than 10 minutes. A quick Q&A with you on some budget questions, and then I mean I would prioritize the social media setting up. So social media, multimedia. I don't know. I mean, I would say LinkedIn setup. I guess we want to start with that, right?
I'm we definitely want to do the communication or follow-up in emails, and I think this is extremely important because otherwise it's not going to happen.
Okay. Sorry, guys. There's a track here.
Ay,
Okay, I went inside. So okay, yeah, communication email is definitely very important, and it shouldn't take too long. I think. And yeah, then we can do some silent work after. But I don't know how or we want to do the CPA follow up and emails first.
I mean, I just think it's a priority, and we never really prioritize it, you know? Because if we don't do that, then we can't focus on our image and get the. I mean, we've been talking about this for over a month in terms of the, the advice and support that the professional branders gave us, and we basically just ignore it and never schedule for it and never actually follow up on it.
Yeah, they're definitely very high priority. Yeah. What yeah.
Communication email list. So this is basically like,
Setting up, agree. Social media can come after. Yeah, I agree.
And basically a quick email and, review next steps. So, I mean, this shouldn't take longer than like 5 to 10 minutes.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And then we have this one is also pretty quick, which is basically, set up core team at social value group email for communication.
Stacy, it's social value group, right?
What?
Stacy is also Stacy's social value group.
I don't understand.
She's
SVG also.
she's directly under a social value group, Stacy.
Well, we only have one team right now, so I don't care what email we use. We could also use an FQN email. If we wanted to do FQN core team Google Groups.com, that's also perfectly fine. I just don't really care what we want to do.
Okay.
But we need to set up a team email list, right?
Yeah.
Like we're required to have one. I think we already have one somewhere. We should be doing recruitment email list too, but we're not using the recruitment email list. But right now we have the partners email list because everybody who really needed to communicate by email was a partner. But now Stacy is not a partner, and I do not want to add Stacy to the partners email list. So I want a team email list. She's not an executive. She's not on the board, right? She's not a manager. She's a team member. So it would make sense for us to have a core team email list.
Got it.
That we're using regularly, since that's her primary form of communication.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, so we can do.
If you want to do the budget, we could do the budget real quick and then do a view up. I mean, I'm okay with that too. But I mean, that's just one topic. It's not particularly exciting.
Yeah, no, no. For me, the topic should be the budget quickly. This 5 to 10 minutes. Then we can do the. I don't know what we want to prioritize between CPA, follow-up, and communications team email. So maybe we can do. What? And then of course, and then fourth topic, the social media. So I would already put these topics here. Then we can do a view up. What do you think? I don't know. We want to set up the email. Should be fairly quick as part of the workflow, so it's very high priority as well. Like this. This could be the fourth topic, and then we do a view up. I mean, I think we will need a view up, but.
So I would say the desired outcome for the social media, for at least the first part, is just kind of like
LinkedIn setup.
Search and review options on, this is LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, LinkedIn.
So we want to basically see what our options are so that we can set up team email list for communication. So basically, let's get the research done. Let's make a plan for what we want to do, and then we can go ahead and do it. But let's spend the first 15, 30 minutes just at least getting a framework of what we're doing. We can also look at the policy. So
okay.
We researching, understanding it, and also the policy on creating accounts. Okay.
Yes. Very good.
So this looks pretty good to me.
To me too.
How do you feel, Joyce?
Yeah, it's okay.
Also, I do think that in general, it is important to have desired outcomes in our work buddy team modeling, like we do on the normal main session, because I think it does help keep. I mean, it's just very important when you have a topic, unless everybody understands exactly what that topic is, the desired outcome is actually what you're talking about. The topic itself is just the name of the topic, So
sure.
It gets, and we experienced that with Mel when we were talking about the logo, right? So it's like the topic is the logo, and then it turns out there was 8 different desired outcomes, under the logo topic. Anyways. So let's go into topic 1 quickly here, and hopefully we can get started, and then we'll take a break.
Sure.
We don't finish it before the break, but it would be good to take a break.
Yeah, I think we can do it before the break. It's 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know. Or we can start and then we can take a quick break.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I hear that it's Moss. Let's see what Moss says. He says, can I take this responsibility? Clear follow-up workflow for potential clients' main responsibilities. And also chip in any role that may need assistance. So the question is this a priority? What is the priority level? What week is it scheduled for the timeline, right? Overall, we always encourage to choose at least 3, if not 5 plus possible responsibilities so that we can make sure one of them works. So, budget questions.
Yes. So,
okay. Up pay stop tomorrow. Well, here, I'll start with one thing. Up front pay stop is tomorrow at, I think it's like 3 o'clock p.m.?
8 p.m.
8:50, no?
3
No, wait, 3:18 p.m. 3:18 p.m.
3
You-
p.m.
So 3 p.m. So, that's not exactly tomorrow. That's basically today. Because let's see what time it is now. So if I go to the world clock, it says UTC time is currently 9:25 p.m. So 9:25 p.m. So it's less than 24 hours. So you basically have 6 hours. So you're minusing 6 hours. So you're looking at about 18 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So the bottom line for me is like when there is a priority, you prioritize the priority, and prioritizing the priority is just you get it done. If you want me to work on something, I'm happy to work on it and prioritize it, but that's my number one piece of advice. So if the budget's not a priority, then you don't prioritize it and you don't work on it. If it's a priority and you want to get it done and you want to prevent upfront pay stop, you prioritize it. It should have already gotten done. It didn't get done, so it just pushes everything back and it just creates a problem. But if you don't prioritize it, it doesn't get done. I mean, I don't see any other way that something gets done to prevent upfront pay stop if you don't prioritize and work on it.
Yeah, we are prioritizing it and
No, we're not prioritizing.
And working on it.
No, we're not prioritizing it. We're not working on the budget right now. It's not, if you're pushing back something to do later, that is exactly the definition of not prioritizing it. Specifically, we have 3 things that we're prioritizing: the communications, the CPA, and the social media, multimedia.
I'm prioritizing the time with you with SVG because the budget. I mean, we can
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I'm just trying to make sure that that's my piece of advice. Everything that I work on, everything that I do, it all comes down to priorities. And there's either prioritizing something or not prioritizing something. In this case, my recommendation, if you want to get the budget done and you want to prevent upfront pay stop, the only way to do that is by prioritizing it. Anyway, this is what I have to say. I don't know what else to say about it. So it's not a good situation, that's for sure.
No, it's not for sure. It's not for sure. We need to
Okay, what's your question?
we don't have the clear budget options ready. We don't have the voting form ready for sure. We still need also to review the budget options, right?
So I mean, basically,
didn't you want us to review all the POPs or the POPs verification?
I mean, for me, it's just jaw-dropping that hasn't been done already weeks and weeks ago. I mean, it's so simple to do a POP review and check in with me, and we brought it up many, many times, and it never happens. And not to mention bring it up for months and months and months before that, and it still never happened. It never got me. So, I mean, so much more could have gotten done on the budget for this week, but it didn't. And so if we're not prioritizing the budget, then it's like maybe your guys' plan is to go on upfront pay stop. I mean, I don't know what else to think about it, especially going into the weekend where most people disappear.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, this is a work that should have been done over a month, right? So we're trying also to follow the responsibility organizing as much as possible by the letter. Wherever we want to skip, we did policy tracking for the removals. It's removals. It's not rankings are not updated and everything. So
But
of course, in 1 week,
if you're trying to prevent upfront pay stop, you're not focusing on the responsibly organizing by the letter, right? Those are 2 separate things, right? Preventing upfront pay stop is just doing the work as quickly as possible and getting at least something moving forward, and then you can go back through and try to improve the responsibility organizing after you prevented upfront pay stop.
No, we are doing that exactly. We try to, anyways. We follow the responsibility organizing whenever we need to skip because we don't have time. We did policy tracking and we move forward. And I mean, the budget is yeah. We definitely could have been done more work during the week. That's for sure. Everybody.
Well, but my question is, did any work happen on the budget? Because I haven't seen anything. I mean, we had a session on it. We went over exactly what needed to be done. We were ready to do the options, But then did any work happen?
I only had a session this week on the budget since we closed the last budget.
Is there any budget work session scheduled? Is there any current scheduled budget work session?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like the problem here is not the budget, right? The problem in my eyes is actually just basic taking any of the work for FQN seriously and actually doing the management and the tracking and the oversight and calling people out on all the bullshit excuses for not getting the budget done. Because it's not, obviously the issue is not the budget. The issue is that people just aren't doing the work, right? There's no schedule. One session happened the entire week on the budget, and that it sounds like it was a very nonchalant session that not much happened at, right? And then that's a joke, and people want to get paid, right? And so it's like, I don't know. I mean, what if we have a client who wants us to do a budget for them? Is this how we work for the client? You know, this is
I don't know. So Mamoon work. We are currently we're doing the budget options. Then we'll do the voting form.
Yes, and it takes less than an hour to do a budget option and a voting form, right?
Yeah, right. But I mean, we did the budget, the setup the 26th yesterday. So I don't know what to tell you, Jay. I understand, but I mean, I didn't work on Monday and Tuesday. We sent over to the team. The team is aligned. We did the setup perfectly, so everybody knows what's being done. Apparently, Mamoon did what he was supposed to do. I couldn't follow up, but he did it anyways, and he's asking to get some pops. Now we need to do the options. I have some questions that I didn't want to use the time with you to work on the budget and do the options. I started working 1 hour. I checked in 2 hours ago. Said, right, first I'm gonna meet with Moth. I met with Moth, then we have SVG with Jay, and then I'm gonna be working. Then we have executive support, and then Sonic, if Mamoon is available, yes. Otherwise, if he's not, I'm gonna do the budget options and prepare the budget for voting. We're trying to follow the setup. So I understand that, yeah, we can work on the budget now.
We have to be realistic, and we have to, daily. We have to be updating the schedule daily based on the priorities, right? If you just stick with the schedule that was made, weeks ago or days ago, and we have new priorities, like we need to be updating the schedule to match the priorities. But the point is, if you have questions, ask the questions. What are the questions?
Yeah, right. Okay. So I have a question. So we need to integrate the nonprofit budget, right, for the options?
No.
No, we just do a budget without having to specify if the funds are from the for-profit or the nonprofit. No.
So all the funds are from the for-profit until we get the nonprofit budget set up. So the nonprofit budget is going to be a separate process and a separate thing, right?
Okay.
So in relationship to, we can, if we wanted to track our hours and have clarity on what work is nonprofit work, we can already spend some of the nonprofit money for payroll. But that's not part of the budget. That's part of payroll. In the context of what we're doing now, Stacy is a temp hire under the nonprofit budget, right? But we still are required to do the option whatever X with Stacy for the overall for-profit budget. So we know that didn't pass, and this is going to be an additional 15 to 25% cut, right? In terms of like adding Stacy. But the idea is like we already voted that we didn't want to have Stacy in the budget, right? But based on our policies, if someone has a pop, they have to be included.
Yes, absolutely, exactly, and we will include her in the as well, Moth and everything. So okay, so I understand now. So basically, we include Stacy with the normal budget process on these options, but we know that we already voted no. Probably also the decision makers are voting no, but we see, but we create the option But we know that Stacy, anyways, it's hired by the nonprofit budget, so we will have to work on a new nonprofit budget process this month, right?
Yeah, which starts with getting the CCC board and the
Exactly.
CCC board campaign set up and doing that. In fact, I would add that to our priority topics for today, because that's really what needs to get done in terms of fixing our budget situation.
Yes. Okay.
So that's super duper key, is to get the board set up, and then from there, then we can look at the budget process. The budget process will be very similar, right, to our current budget. It's just going to be formatted in a way that fits with the nonprofit. Mel's going to be voting on it, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So we need to follow, basically. For the moment, we follow the normal budget process, and we know that Stacy might pass. Maybe the vote changes, I don't know, but probably will not. So we don't need to specify now, because we need to create actually the nonprofit budget this month, which starts with the setup of the old CCC board.
Yeah. So basically, what that means is, like, okay, if Stacy was proposed into the budget and it doesn't pass,
yeah,
she's still a temporary hire, but she's
still
not in the official budget. But we're at least attempting to put her in the official budget, and when people vote on it, they vote no, or they would be clearly saying that it's too much money for the current budget.
Okay.
And again, there's no guarantee that Stacy gets approved in the next budget either. Like, when we do a nonprofit budget, we can propose one with Stacy and one without Stacy, for sure. And not to mention, under our policies, right, when you're doing the removals from the budget, obviously Stacy basically would automatically be proposed to be removed from the budget every month based on our policies, because she ranks the lowest in like every category.
Yeah, when we do the removals, of course. Yeah. Okay, Jay. Okay, I think I have clarity to get these budget options done.
That's it. Just adding state. Yeah, just follow the policies. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
And if you need help, just let us know. I mean, it's not difficult. I mean,
no, it's not.
I feel like we could bust out the budget options in like a half an hour working on it together.
No, I know. Yeah, even less. Yeah. But
so my main concern is just that technically speaking, under the policies, to prevent upfront pay stop, the budget should be approved, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to prevent upfront pay stop, but I mean, upfront pay stop is to run on Saturday, so I believe we'll have the voting form out by then, and then hopefully one of the options will pass, and we can schedule top priority for Monday a main session where we certify the. Yeah, I don't see how we can do it faster than this. I mean.
Yeah, so I mean, basically,
we need to give the people time to vote.
Yeah, to prevent upfront pay stop, we're definitely looking at some type of retroactive voting, I think is what it's called, retroactive voting. All right, so
preemptive.
What?
Preemptive.
Yeah.
Preemptive. Yeah, maybe it's preemptive. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is, or no, maybe it is retroactive. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But the point is that in the future, when they vote on the budget, they're going to be retroactively approving the proposal multiple days before it actually is finalized. So I think it's and then they're all, the preemptive vote is the preemptive vote on implementing the future, the costs in the future months for the current budget. That's the preemptive vote. So the retroactive vote is when you approve something from the past, which in this case where we would be approving the budget in the past based on a vote that happened multiple days in the past. Okay?
Yeah. We always call it retroactive. Yeah.
So the
Retroactive vote.
preemptive vote would be the proposals for preemptively approving the POPs, right?
Yes, exactly.
Preemptive, proposals.
They're doing budget from the past.
The only other thing that's possible is that we could technically try to add Alberto into the nonprofit budget early, but I just feel like the easiest way to do that is just get the board set up for CCC and then do the budget. That would include Alberto and myself and,
Yeah, exactly.
Casey, Mel, everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So
Maybe helpful. All right.
I think we're good on this,
But,
right?
yeah,
But
the retroactive vote would happen on Monday when we certify the budget, not on the voting form, right?
You're approving a retroactive budget proposal now that gets finalized on Monday or whenever, or Tuesday.
Yes, but I mean this proposal we would do when the proposal to retroactive in order to, like for example, in the voting form that we will send out with the options, though the proposal in that voting form will be a retroactive proposal vote, a proposal for a retroactive vote, or not yet. I mean, retroactive would be once we are in upfront pay stop, and on Monday we
basically on the voting form or somewhere it's gonna say the actual, like let's say we did it right now. We're in Andromeda, right? If we actually had the budget and we're ready to vote on the options, the three of us would vote to retroactively approve the proposal based on the Andromeda Hour 2, approval of the budget. So basically what we're saying is that we are passing the budget now on behalf of the board, and the board is just reviewing the budget approval that we passed, and then the board is approving the budget as of Andromeda Hour 2 today as opposed to Monday. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Supposed to Monday.
Right? So when they vote, they're not actually voting on the budget. They're voting on the proposal that we approved before the deadline, and they're just reviewing it and approving the proposal that's already been approved. Right? That's what the retroactive proposal is. If they don't approve the proposal, then we automatically go on pay stop based on the original pay stop deadline, which would be Saturday, even though it's Tuesday. So if the HR board does not approve the budget proposal that we put forward, you end up on upfront pay stop because the retroactive proposal was not approved.
Yeah, but before doing a proposal like that, there needs to be a budget vote before the upfront pay stop.
Correct.
Right.
There has to be a budget vote before the upfront pay stop. Exactly.
Yeah. So we send out the voting form. We tally the votes before the upfront pay stop. That's
not going to happen. It takes 24 hours to tally the votes, and the votes that we have less than 24 hours. We only have 18 hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Plus
so
the weekend, which no one does work in the weekend, so we shouldn't expect anyone to tally anything over the weekend or vote over the weekend. Right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of times where people don't even vote over the weekend.
Exactly. So this proposal for retroactive that we are voting to approve the proposal on a budget retroactively, right? So we would put it in the voting form. We would put it in the voting form.
We do every time because we're always late on the budget.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So even if they vote on Tuesday, we tally the votes on Tuesday, the proposal passes, the option passes, one of the option passes.
Yes, but again, just focus on one step at a time. None of that happens without first approving the budget before the deadline. Right? So the only step that needs to happen is you need a clear budget option that's presented and voted on during a session, either a budget team session or a budget session, or we could do it on Discord with the team for whoever's available. Once that is approved as a retroactive proposal, then it can be put into the voting form and sent off to the HR board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So you
perfect.
can continue that stuff.
Exactly. So we need the clear budget options. We need to agree, at least the team, within the team, that these budget options are okay, and then we send them out with a voting form with a retroactive proposal.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess technically
That
speaking,
any budget option, it's for us, it's automatically no. So
I feel like with the if we want to try to simplify, right,
yeah.
we could technically do one single budget option, the one that we know the team is in agreement on, with the moth being added to and everything, and then we could skip the Stacy proposal and then just do a quick policy tracking on it, because we know the Stacy proposal is obviously not going to pass.
Exactly.
So if we don't want to waste time on it, you could just do policy tracking, because it's just breaking the policy that if someone completes a POP, we're required to add it to the budget. So that would be against policy to not do that. But at the same time, if you know it's not going to pass anyways, you're breaking the policy for a reason, right? You're basically saying this isn't going to pass anyways. We already know it's not going to pass. We're on upfront pay stop, so we're breaking the policy, and you know why you're breaking the policy. That's what policy tracking is for. When you're purposely breaking policy, it's because you know why it's better to not follow the policy, right? So policies are not, you don't have to follow policies, right? Policy tracking and breaking policies can be beneficial for the team. But the idea of policy tracking is that when you break a policy, you should know why you're breaking it.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I would do that. I would definitely do that. Because anyways, we send them a proposal for a budget option that we already discarded. I mean, and with so low.
We didn't actually vote on the budget. We voted on the temporary proposal, knowing that it would be in the budget. It would be additional cuts that we did not approve. But again, it's still against policy. It's just doing the policy tracking, which is fine.
Okay, Jay. Thank you. Yeah.
But I do feel like there is an issue here that we need to bring to the evaluation team, which is that for me the primary problem seems to be the management and the coordination and the scheduling. Right? The management, coordination, and scheduling is unacceptable, and it's like if people aren't working on the budget, maybe that should even be against policy if people should be doing policy tracking, or I don't know. But the point is that like we still don't have a schedule. Like when is the budget going to be completed, by who? Because without that answered, it's just talk,
Yes, perfect.
It's not perfect.
No, it's not perfect. I mean, thank you for your. The Q&A is perfect. the rest is a mess. Absolutely.
Like who? When is the budget getting done? By who? Right? And by who? Right? That is, as my executive duty, it's not okay to have that management task completed. Right? As an executive, me seeing that there's still no schedule, there's still not clarity on who's doing what by when, that's a problem.
There is a schedule.
No, we have a schedule. We have clarity on that.
Okay, so let me know. That's as an executive, that is what I need to know. I need to know when the budget is getting scheduled and done, by who, and by when.
Yeah.
So what's the answer?
The answer is I sent you a message on Discord, and I can link you here the management spreadsheet where you can find that.
No, unacceptable. It just needs to be.
No, I'm gonna. I can copy.
This is the time.
In the Discord.
No, if it's written, you can read it to me. It needs to be verbal, and it needs to take less than 5 seconds to say, the next budget season person to work on the budget is this octant with these people, and they're going to be completing
Yeah.
this responsibility, and so
No, we
therefore
don't.
get completed at this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the budget options, the octant exactly is Sonic for sure. I mean, by Sonic, we're going to have the budget options. That's
So
the
Sonic
schedule.
for
Sonic.
sure does not answer the question.
January 27 today, Sonic.
That's only the
We're
time.
gonna, yeah, by Alberto and Mamoon. Alberto and Mamoon, yeah.
Okay, so Sonic, hour, question mark.
Alberto, Mamoon, and Ate
Alberto
also.
and Mamoon. Okay, so that answers 2 of the 3 questions.
Okay.
Right? And so then the next question is how many sessions it's going to take and what's going to be completed by the end of that session, and does that mean the budget will be done?
No, by the end of the session, we're going to have the budget options.
Budget options. Okay, so then you need another session, right? So then the next session would be question mark or
we need to review and verify the budget options. Yeah.
So review and verify and vote on budget options. Okay, so the question is, when is that happening? How is it going to happen? Who is doing it?
It should be done by Ate and Mamoon later. Ate and Mamoon later. January 27, 28. For them is 28.
Okay, so that's what I want to make sure it's clear is that like there clearly needs to be at least 2 sessions, and we only have 1 session scheduled, and then the other session is unknown. So we don't actually know when the budget is going to get completed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we know we want to get it completed by tomorrow 3 p.m. Yeah, but we don't have a clear schedule.
Do we know what octant 3 p.m. tomorrow is?
3 p.m. is Zuri H2.
Zuri. Yeah.
Zuri. Yeah. Zuri H2 or H1.
So I mean, for me, in my perspective, basically, I think it goes Phoenix, right? So basically, we have Andromeda, and we have Cobalt, Sonic, and then Phoenix, right? And then in Jay's perspective, we are on upfront pay stop. Okay, so if it doesn't get completed by Phoenix today, in my mind, we're on upfront pay stop. It would be good if we didn't get on upfront pay stop, but realistically, it's like I'm not going to be checking in for Zuri. That's too early, right? So ideally, we would get it all done before that, if you want me to be involved in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it makes sense. Perfect.
So my recommendation would be to schedule something, like for example, you could do Sonic Hour 1 and Sonic Hour 3, right? Or you could do Sonic Hour 2 and Phoenix Hour 1, right? But the idea is try to schedule something and get something set up that is actually functional with the people who are actually available, right? And to do the work. If you actually want to achieve the goal by the deadline, right? Because I personally can ensure that we prevent upfront pay stop today if we prioritize it. But if we don't prioritize it for today and it goes on to tomorrow, I can't do anything, right?
Yes.
But again, it's up to you guys to get organized and to schedule it. And if you prefer to go on upfront pay stop, then that's your decision. So
no, we definitely deserve to go on upfront pay stop. That's for sure. So I'm okay if we go one day on
upfront pay stop because you're not prioritizing the work, right? Instead, we're prioritizing all these other things. They're not prioritizing until I guess Sonic, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's other priorities as well. So we did a setup yesterday. I mean,
Yes,
block everything and block everything and. Yeah.
Wait, Mama, Alberto. What?
No, Joyce, please.
So Joyce, in my perspective, Alberto clearly stated that he is fine going on upfront pay stop, and that the reason he's not prioritizing the budget is because he feels like it's actually not the top priority and that it's fine to go on upfront pay stop. So I just want to make sure that you agree with that and that you are also fine going on upfront pay stop.
No.
So what does that mean to you, Alberto, as a manager?
As a manager, I
Because
mean,
what I
Joyce,
said
we've been talking about scheduling, about the budget and everything. You haven't had the word, so Joyce, if it's not good for you, you can also try to
No,
prioritize it, right?
the
I'm saying
schedule
for
is,
me, I know we could have done better. We started the setup yesterday. I mean, we also had a couple of topics here and there during the sessions, but I mean, for me, passing a budget in 3 days, the budget is an important thing. So we also have a lot of other work that we need to take care of, and can we do?
But let me just
I'm not.
let me just back up. Let me just back up for a second, because I think this is much more
It's
important.
not an upfront pay stop for a client work. Would have
No,
been
it
an
is upfront pay stop for client work. It's just our internal client work, and we don't take it seriously. And I don't think we would take seriously external client work either. If we can't do our internal client work to get paid, then we can't do the external client work either. So I am very concerned. But anyways, I think this is more important than just the budget or the SVG work. So just give me a minute here. So Joyce, can you confirm very clearly that you just said no, right? You said no, you would prefer not to go an upfront pay stop. Is that correct?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So Joyce said no. Alberto, I feel like what is an issue in terms of your responsibilities and your involvement with the organization is that you have two very, very, very different hats that you wear. You wear a worker hat. You work on the budget. You work on the website. You work on SVG. You work on FQN. You work on all these different things, and you are obviously a worker. You're one of the best workers, right?
Right.
But you also wear a different hat, which is the primary manager hat of SVG and of the team, right? As the primary manager, that's a very different hat than wearing the hat as a worker. And when you're the primary manager, right, you have to think differently. So on your hat, it's very clearly when you say that you don't care about the upfront pay stop at this time, that it's not the number one top priority, you are saying that as a worker, because it's your individual personal opinion and it's your personal say as a worker. But as a manager, as the primary manager of the organization and our team, if any one team member is concerned about going on upfront pay stop and does not agree with your personal opinion, as the primary manager, you can't ignore that, because this is your team, right? You need to have confirmation from Joyce, from Mamoon, Atay, and other people that they're all perfectly fine going on upfront pay stop, right? Because then otherwise, as a primary manager, you can't be okay with going on upfront pay stop if your entire team is not okay with it, because then otherwise you're not managing the team. You're not communicating with them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we're a bottom-up organization, right? As a manager, you are responsible to the team, not them being responsible to you. So if the manager just doesn't care about the upfront pay stop, and the entire team does, and you don't change your hat and you understand that that's simply just the responsibility of the manager is to get cues from the team, right? So for me, if Joyce is concerned about and is not okay with going upfront pay stop, my request to you would be to take a stop for just a second, and then instead of responding in your personal preference of how you have already made it clear that you don't particularly think that the upfront pay stop is a big deal, if you could respond as the primary manager of the organization, knowing that at least one worker, if not multiple of them, do not want to have an upfront pay stop on the budget. As the primary manager, what would you do, and how do you feel about it? Because I think that that's a different perspective, and I want to challenge you to rethink.
I would try to reorganize the team and communicate with the team and to get the budget completed by the deadline. Which,
so do you think that's possible?
I'm trying to do it. Well, it's difficult, but I don't see it impossible, right? So I still don't see it impossible. But the thing is that if the team was so concerned about that from pay stop, I understand. But I mean, they could have also stepped up and do more work. You don't stop because a POP has not. It's not updated. Okay, you make the communication, but you don't stop to
Well, that's a great answer.
About the work.
As a manager, right? So as a manager, it doesn't matter how you feel about the upfront pay stop, but you make it very clear, and you said this earlier, Joyce, you didn't step up to work on the budget, you didn't prioritize, you didn't, say that you were concerned before. And so if we want to fix this moving forward, or now people haven't, right? I think that is a big answer. And so you want to put that in writing, notify the team, make it clear, and
yes,
and we can see what Joyce thinks.
For sure, I can do that. I will do that. So I'm gonna say.
But so as the primary manager, it would be good. Like, what is the number one job of a manager?
Well, for sure,
the number one responsibility.
Communication.
But what kind of communication?
Status updates.
Exactly. Right. So as the manager, I think you even said you were the budget manager. I don't know, but you would basically give us that.
I am the budget manager.
And let everybody know that the current status of the budget is bad, that people did not step up, they did not, follow through with what they said they were going to do, and we're looking at an upfront pay stop. And if we want to prevent the upfront pay stop, this is what needs to be done if people want to step up and do it. And if we don't want to prevent the upfront pay stop, then don't do this, right? But as the primary manager, I feel like you should always have the workers in context, and we should have clear answers for example, what needs to be done if we do want to prevent upfront pay stop. Because the bottom line question is it possible to prevent upfront pay stop? Yes or no? And I'm a big obvious yes. Of course, it's possible to prevent the upfront pay stop.
Yeah, right? we could prevent it in I believe 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, about the same amount of time that it takes to talk about not preventing it.
Yeah, at the time that if we had worked on the budget, we would have prevented it
probably. Yeah. Anyways, so Joyce, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
My perspective, maybe sometimes, Alberto is also going through things in his personal life. So sometimes he's tired also of, following up on people. So I guess sometimes it happens.
Yeah, no, it's okay, Joe. But
but now we have to move forward.
We need to move forward. Yeah.
I think Alberto also does this. Alberto tries to go out of his way not to bother Jay. Because if you treated me like another worker, you probably would want to just get the budget done with me. But it's like you would prefer not to bother me with something mundane like the budget and to focus on the more exciting things like all the multimedia and the SVG and all that stuff because it's better use of my time, right? So,
yeah,
I can't disagree with that, but it's like I think that's also part of it. But at the same time, we have to work as a team, right? We're all equal here, and we all have to work as a team.
No, exactly, and that's why I'm trying to bring. I'm trying to bring the team to. We did a very good setup for the budget with Joyce because I was trying to. It took a long time, but because I was also training her to do it properly, and of course, Jay, it was already coming back in my mind, like at the beginning of the work 1 year ago, the main thing that my focus was to get Jay to work. I don't know if you remember. I was saying, we need to get scheduled with Jay so that we can support him in doing work because 1 hour of his work, it's multiple hours of our work, so we can move very quickly forward. For sure, yeah, I agree.
Well, anyways, I feel like
but the budget, you always say the budget is not your responsibility. So yes, I want to bring it up when it's ready to review and when we have some work completed.
All right, so I think we should have a manager proposal here. which is to not prioritize the budget until Sonic. Okay, so from having clarity on the budget and everything that we went over, I thought this was really useful time because I feel
Me
like we
too.
addressed the bigger issues and we need to add this topic to the eval session, which is basically, the management and coordination. Like this is, I think it even needs to go into the executive priorities because this is, let's note that here. Add to eval and executive priorities. This is the topic of management and overall coordination of processes. We're missing some marks here. It's not good. That needs to be prioritized. So in terms of the proposal, what I'm hearing here is that this is a management proposal, so it's a very low level proposal. So I think it's important, based on what I heard, that there is agreement on it, that we are prioritizing the budget until Sonic. We're not going to prioritize the budget until Sonic. So I think it'd be good just to take 30 seconds just to vote on this real quick.
I don't know, Jay, because it's also, I don't want the budget is late and then we jump on the budget and we get it done in 45 minutes. We need to get the team to work, from my perspective, the whole team to be working on the budget. Like what I was saying before, Mamoon see a couple of problems with the POPs and then he doesn't schedule for anymore. He doesn't do anything anymore. I mean, you can still keep on going and scheduling things. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the budget is something that should also help to bring all the team on the same page.
But that doesn't disregard the proposal. Like we can still just vote on this proposal real quick, right?
Yeah, of course.
So just a quick little vote, because this is what's being proposed on a management level, and I obviously support you as the primary manager and everything. But any time that there's any issue, the workers can obviously decide how they want to do it. So, are there any questions about the management proposal, this minor management? No questions? Okay, and then the concern is obvious. Oh yeah, question?
Yeah, I mean, this proposal you're making based on what I told you. It's organized how we are looking forward in meeting the deadline. Right. That's how you build the proposal.
Changing the deadline? What? I didn't understand.
Yeah, you build this proposal saying, you build the proposal based on how on the timeline that I gave you as a manager for how we how we are prioritizing the budget and how we are planning the work on the budget.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. So the schedule for the budget is that the budget is going to get worked on and moved forward at Sonic, right? Yeah. Which means it's not going to get worked on in Andromeda or Cobalt because we have other priorities, right? So I think it's fine. I just want to make sure, based on what I heard, that there's actually clarity and agreement on this. Does that make sense? Because of the concern, right? The concern is that this increases the probability of going upfront pay stop, which obviously affects everybody in the organization negatively. That's the concern. So if there's, I don't know if there's any other questions, but if you have a clear question, I can write it down. No questions?
No, I mean...
Are there any other concerns? The concern is really that it just increases the probability of going up from pay stop. It's less time to work. There's also positives of it, which is that it allows us more time to get focused on the higher priority work, like SVG and executive work, right?
Yep.
So anyways, let's just do a quick vote. I mean, I'm a 6.95 on this. I mean, if this is what you guys want to do, I have no problem with it. I just want to make sure this is actually what you guys want to do. And Joyce was the one who said no earlier. So let's see so Joyce is a 3. This is what I'm talking about. This is why it's so important to vote, because you don't vote, you don't actually know. And this is a very masculine tendency to not vote on things and not actually hear people's voice. So this doesn't pass. So basically, on a management level, this is not acceptable, right? We need to schedule either Andromeda or Cobalt to work on the budget because that's just the requirement of what is needed as an organization. And that this isn't as an executive, this is what I'm saying. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's schedule. So we either need to cancel the rest of this session. So options.
Exactly.
Option 1.
We have
Option 2. Option 1 and option 2. It's very clear. So we can cancel rest of SVG work session, or we can cancel the executive support session and instead schedule the budget. So I'm not saying we can't reschedule these things. If we get the budget done and we finish it and it looks good, then we can go back to SVG work or go back to executive work, right? But the idea here is that first we should get agreement on what these options to do, because there's not really another option. The option 3 is going back to Sonic, which didn't pass, right? Option 3 is Sonic, didn't pass.
Yeah, so since we are already talking about this, there is a problem with our schedule because we forgot that the executive support is Cobalt H1, and we have scheduled the regular SVG work session on Andromeda H2. So, like for example, Cobalt H1 is in 50 minutes, right?
Yeah. So that was already a problem which I brought up earlier.
Yeah. So we should just as a reminder for everybody, we don't need to do it now, but let's try maybe reschedule the SVG work session or the executive support session, either SVG to Andromeda H1 or the executive support at Cobalt H2.
Otherwise, so, Andromeda is almost completely over, so we're almost just looking at Cobalt at this point. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean for the regular schedules. Exactly.
Correct. So that's another management issue that we need to bring up.
Yeah.
Management issue is schedule for Fridays. And overall, I like having the same schedule every day of the week. So we could also look at schedule for the whole week.
Yeah, I love it.
So do we really want to change the schedule just for Friday, or maybe we should have a clear schedule every day of the week so that it is organized?
Yeah.
So, for example, I think the easiest thing to do would be Andromeda Hour 2 every day of the week, and then Cobalt Hour 2 every day of the week. So just like no Cobalt Hour 1, right? So if we got rid of Cobalt Hour 1, that would give us 3 hours. We have 2-hour session for Andromeda Hour 2, and then we go into Cobalt Hour 2, which obviously is difficult. But if people can't make Cobalt, it's just like go to sleep. Don't do Cobalt. It's like not a big deal, And that's another thing, is that both of you don't need to be working with me all of the time. If we're increasing our schedule and increasing the amount of work we get done as a team, like it doesn't make sense that the only time I work with you guys is only when both of you are together. It's like I can work with Joyce individually. I can work with Alberto individually.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the schedule is very good. Andromeda H2 and Cobalt H2. For me, it's very good. But I don't know about
H2 is Cobalt H2 is.
It will be in 1 hour and 45 minutes from
12 a.m. UTC.
Yeah, it's midnight. UTC. All right. Anyways.
So what I would say is that we have another hour of this session. So as far as Andromeda Hour 2, like if you guys are into this, keeping everything the same every day of the week, we still have 1 hour left, so we could get some work done now, which is fine. And then for the Cobalt, we would do hour 2, and then we should have a half an hour break in between. We have about an hour, 1 hour left for now. So this is Andromeda Hour 2. We have 1 hour left. And then we have Cobalt Hour 2. And then we have a half hour break.
Yeah, I would anyways.
First question is, Joyce, are you interested in doing Cobalt Hour 2? Are you planning
for the budget? For the budget?
For anything.
Yeah, for the budget. Okay.
So you would consider doing it for
I-
the budget? Okay.
Yeah, for the
No.
budget.
I would prefer to cancel now and do the budget now, and keep the executive
Ah.
support. For me, that's
What
after all.
what if we do the budget both on on these things?
I think if we cancel the rest of the session and we spend 1 hour with Jay on the budget, we're gonna
Yeah.
do it. I don't see why we wouldn't finish it in 1 hour with Jay. Okay.
Okay.
Or you
I would-
guys
I
can
would try
work
to
on
keep-
budget, and I can go work on my work. I mean, I could easily focus on some of this email stuff and the communications list and the CPA follow-up while you guys are
that's
working
even
on
better. That's even
the
better.
budget.
Yeah, and that's even better. And we meet maybe in 45 minutes to do a quick review and vote on the options, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I could even like be in the other channel or even be listening to you guys or whatever you want to do, right? So to answer questions.